Good morning. It's VapeAM. Let's talk about the Freemax Mesh Pro tank. It's VapeAM. We got the Freemax Mesh Pro tank, part of a series of mesh tank stuff, and we're gonna talk about this today. Yeah! Good morning. I'm Eli Juicy Jones, and this is VapeAM. You've tuned into Orbital Vaping Headquarters, Juicy Jones HQ, and we are going to talk about the Freemax Mesh Pro tank today. Just pretty cool. Had this thing on order for a while, came in today. Thank you for Rob Lee for getting this thing for me and sending it in. And I'm excited. I've been vaping on this for a while. Don't be fooled by how clean this is. I've definitely had this for a bit here, and I put in a fresh one there for you this morning just to show you. There's the one I had in there, the dual. And we're going to talk about the mesh and a little bit of a comparison between the other mesh tanks, although we're going to do a whole episode here pretty soon. As soon as I get some Aspire coils on mesh tanks, it's going to be cool. We're going to compare all the mesh tanks I've got and talk about which ones I like. The Nefo, the Coil Art, Aspire, iJoy, whichever ones. And this Freemax. Good morning. This is a live show. If you're watching this on replay, thanks for watching on replay. You can also find us every Wednesday and Saturday morning here at 8 o'clock. And feel free to comment just like you're watching live. We split the show up into two halves. There's like a technical part where we do this. And then in the last half, we'll just have a real casual hangout. So don't be fooled by the length of the show. It's actually about half that long. Good morning to everybody who's watching us live. James, Thomas, Rob Lee, Ed, Jason. And that's cool. Looks like Jason got his notification. That's fine. If you like these shows, make sure you click on like and subscribe down there. And click on the little bell icon to get notifications when we go live. Because we are a live show. So you definitely want to click on those notifications so you can tune in right away and be here with us. I have a cup of extremely strong tea right here. Can't show you without hitting this thing. And I hope all of you do too. I was actually vaping on this Freemax before the show, but right now I'm vaping on my Zenith 3, which is one of my favorite mods, dual 2700 voltage regulated. Very simple. And my Coil Art Mage Mesh Pro or Mesh Tank, which is one that I'm going to be comparing to this one quite a bit. And Cal Williams, Cal Williams is asking about my vape nut stand. I actually have a video about my vape nut stands on my thing from a couple of years ago when I got them. I don't have any new stands. That's a good question. I wonder if someone sent me some new stands. I'll compare them to the vape nut stand. It's going to be a hard comparison, though, because the vape nut stands are nice. And hello. Hi, Kyle Williams. Nice to see you. Thanks for chiming in. I appreciate anybody who chimes in. This, my friends, is the Freemax Mesh Pro tank. How cool is this? I'm going to get my focus up a little bit here so we can see it a little more closely. I may even turn up the lights a little bit here to get a little bit more bling. There it is. This is a 25 millimeter tank. And the biggest glass it's got will hold 6 millimeters, but this one holds, I believe, 4. It says 4, 5, and 6 on the thing, and they give me 2 tanks. So it is not entirely clear when I opened it which one it is. And the bubble glass makes it look like a little flying saucer thing. It's got a big, big, thick plastic injection molded outside. Like, that's really big and thick. It's almost Holly Hobby. Almost like playset. Remember that if your atomizer comes wet, return it immediately. Mine is wet because I took it out of the ultrasonic, y'all. It has a good 510 or 810 drip tip with flush O-rings, but look, it's already, mine came from the factory like this. I noticed it the first time I cleaned it, and it's not getting any better because once that goes, it goes. But it comes with replacement O-rings, and that has not been a problem yet. One thing I'll say about this one is that this one does a pretty good job of keeping the e-liquid inside the thing, and you'll notice that thing tapers down. And that's pretty nice because the e-liquid tends to go down out of this thing instead of up out of the O-rings of this thing, which is a problem for almost all of them. It's got a slider to fill on the top. And this thing, in my opinion, is completely inadequate. This comes off in your pocket, y'all. Like, you can just press this with your finger so easily, and it comes undone. And I have a feeling that maybe mine's a dud or something, but I called to Freemax to... hey, you guys, like, maybe tell me what's up here, or do I have a dud? Or mine literally just lay it down in your pocket, and there you go. Like, if you just sit it down, there's any pressure on it at all, then it all leaks out. And that did happen to me, and I was very upset. So that's inadequate. However, it's pretty easy to fill, although you're going to have to take off your drip tips if you are filling up with, say, a large 120, because even that height right there is not sufficient. Or it is barely adequate. So doing that, you're basically just eyeballing it. You see how that's barely in there? So it does work, but woo boy. I think this top part is a little bit thick, I guess is what I'm saying. They could probably try to trim a little bit of that out. Maybe take it out of the chimney. It assembles in 5 parts like most of these atomizers. I want to complain about the 510 on this. And, you know, like I said, overall, the impression of this thing is that it's cheap. So the 510 on this morning just came out. I had to search all over my house. This is a 2-part 510, and I presume they want you to be able to adjust it. I guess that's the idea. But that clean came out. Look, it's only got 3 threads or 4 threads. And I put this in there and it wouldn't work. And I was just switching mods. And I was like, where the hell is the 510? I looked all over my living room. I thought I was going to have to cancel this show. I'm not joking. I thought I was going to have to cancel the show because I could not find the 510 pin. And I was going to do a video where I complained mightily. And right now I am complaining mightily. So that doesn't have enough threads, guys. And, you know, good on you, I guess, if you're trying to let us adjust them. Let me grab a screwdriver. But you'll notice that just infinity screws. So it doesn't sink into it. It doesn't stop. So there's something wrong with this. There's definitely something wrong with this. So watch out. Your 510 could just pop out any day. Like now I'm paranoid, aren't you? Oops, I have a hair. Now I'm totally paranoid that that's just going to come out. Like it did that one time. All right, moving on. Let me do a little station identification. Hey, this is Eli Juicy Jones. You're watching VapeAM. This is, I think, Wednesday morning. And VapeAM is the show where we do reviews, unboxings, interviews, everything I want to. DIY sometimes. It's a live show. Thank you for tuning in here. I really appreciate it. Boom. Today we're looking at the Freemax Mesh Pro tank. And I will talk about the flavor on these. It has 3 coils. Unscrews from the top. Sort of like in the Clito and many other systems, the chimney is the middle. So you can't change this coil without this being empty. There's our top piece. Maybe I can replace the ball bearing inside there or something. They usually have a ball bearing, but that is just not very tight. There's the glass. That's the bubble glass. So it can look silly. The base has a gigantic airflow, which I will say is very smooth. I've had very good results with the airflow on this. It is, I say, pretty darn good. Not going to complain very much. I'm going to rank the brightness up a little. Just that way. These come out. They have a single, a dual, and a triple, a new triple mesh coil. What comes with it is the triple mesh. And you can see, what comes with it is the dual mesh and a single. And you can see that the mesh has gigantic gaps. But note that the gaps are 5-sided. Is that right? Are they pentagonal? They're 6-sided. So you'll notice that it has 6-sided gaps inside there. Make note of that. It's important. So this is one of the dual coils. It comes with a single, which looks puny in comparison, but it looks like you can probably have an extra milliliter of juice or 2. All of the O-rings on these come off. So when you're manipulating your coils, make sure that you don't lose an O-ring, because you easily could. There's one of the singles. And the single has a much finer mesh on it. Let me see if I can't zoom up to show you. There we go. It has a much finer mesh on the single. You see it? And note that they're no longer 6-sided. They're 4-sided. Now it's a mesh grid, if I'm not mistaken. I will take a closer look at that as soon as I can. I'm going to move the light in even closer. Just to see if we can get more light on that. So not 5-sided. Do you see that it's got a chicken, not a chicken wire, sorry. It's got a hatch grid. So it's squares with diagonals across it. And I can't see the exact shape that the holes make. But what I can tell you is I have not tried the single yet. And you'll notice that this has a quite substantial cotton reservoir around the outside. And then it has a couple of steel blockers that actually block some of the juice coming in. But it comes in full on here and a little bit less on the sides. It's an interesting way to regulate that. Let's look at the double again. Oop, I only have the spent one down there. Sort of laughing, what did I do with it? Here it is. So look at the difference in the single and the dual. But what pattern there is does matter. So this is more of a stacked mesh, and this is more of a straight wrap, or looks like, gosh, there's so little cotton in this. Do you see how little cotton there is in that? Hey, Mark Jones, how are you? One of our buddies from the UK. And then now let's look at the triple mesh, which is one of these. Casaa. Triple mesh, 0.15, 80 to 110 watts. Crinkle, 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 crinkle. All right. So, single, dual, triple. And the new triple has the same mesh in it that the dual has, but it's even larger. You see how there are even larger gaps, but they're 6-sided? And the reason I wanted you to remember this is because it's a good thing, because the flavor on this is excellent. Very good. Even though it's a very high volume vape. That's all of them. So, like I said, these all come across as being fairly cheap. The tank too, but the flavor is very good. Single mesh 0.15, 40 to 70. Double mesh 0.2, 60 to 90. Triple mesh 0.15, 80 to 110. All Casaa, which I'm happy to hear that because Casaa is my favorite metal. Casaa is the one that has the best data about emissions. We have the most information about Casaa, and it's very good information, and it's good. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the bubble tank on here, reassemble this thing. It's going to look like a bubbly, very silly tank. I'm going to prime this with some Eaton Mess, one of my favorite e-liquids of all time. You can feel this when it's seated. It goes. You can feel it sort of take a little thud. So it isn't like you feel like you're over-tightening it. Remember, I stress this all the time. Remember to be extremely vigilant about priming your coils. In fact, I'm going to do this, and then we're going to put these in the tank, put a little bit of e-liquid on it, and then we'll go back up top for just a second and talk about it. Always prime these coils. Any factory coil, even if it's an Atlantis. And we're going to put some down in here too. Now you don't want to drip so much in here that it goes down into the airflow. But you do want to make sure that you touch the tops of these so you can get some e-liquid in there. And capillary action will do the rest. What I try to do is just not have any at the very top that doesn't look saturated, and then typically the rest will flow. One of the first things I did with these was take one of the coils and just burn it dry. And it was gross, of course. But I wanted to see what happened. And it was okay. And then I did vape on it, and it was all right. all I did was do it one time till it was on fire. That tastes burnt. But they will burn quite easily if they're not fully saturated. Okay, bubble glass. Probably easier, always remember, put the lid on first. And then screw on the glass, and then screw it down. Okay, here. Hey, Andrew Beadall, great to see you. There's another one. So, this is what I meant about this being kind of a pain to get 120s in. Even my other ones, but it's quite easy if you take the drip tip off. I usually don't do that, but I am always paranoid it's going to go somewhere. With this thing on here, this should hold about 6 mils now. Like I said, the packaging is a little confusing. It says 4, 5, and 6, and they include 2 pieces of glass. So this bubble glass, I presume, is the 6. And I do not know about a TPD compliant version of this tank. I presume that they've made one. It might be called something else. Or maybe they have an insert or something. I'm not sure what they do to comply with TPD. All right. There we go. You know our policy, you get 1 mess on this channel. It does come with extra O-rings, which is good. You're going to need them, I can tell. Because like I said, I didn't put the bubble glass on. Guys, I didn't put the bubble glass on. So, it looks like this is the 5 mil and this is the 6 mil. Man, I missed my chance. Oh, what a bummer. I don't care. I'll do it again. A little bit later. Oh, actually, I wanted to show you. I'm going to put this thing on my Zenith. This thing works absolutely fantastic. Mark Jones, I'm certain that this isn't 2 mil right here. Because even the box says 5 mil and 4 mil. And I opened up the manual, and the manual said 6 and 5 and 4. So there's a little bit of confusion. Oh well. This thing is absolutely fantastic on my Zenith 3. I absolutely love the Zenith 3. And I just put it on voltage mode. Right now we're about 3.7 volts, 3.5. Yep. Yum. Needs to go way up. Too much air. Let me tell you something though. You can restrict the air in this thing and it does not get too noisy and weird. So even though it looks kind of clunky with that big pin just stuck in there, that's the only thing restricting the air. They just hammered a pin inside. Flavor is outstanding on these things. I mean, it is really good. Choked a little bit there. So this needs to go way up in the wattage. The dual coil didn't require that much juice, probably 80 to 100, a little bit less. Let me see what it says. I didn't actually look at what it said before I vaped it. It says 60 to 90, so yeah, good. I don't feel too bad. I was vaping about 90, 92 watts. So for me, that's where it was good there. This one needs to go up a little more. Shout out to Brady. Hey man, how are you? Who just joined us? Ooh, flavor is outstanding. You guys know I love the Eaten Mess. Eaten Mess is our strawberry meringue dessert from the delicious UK International Delights. Oh, love Eaten Mess. And it is good in this. This is a humongous juice killer, though. I tell you guys that you can plow through tons of juice. So as far as exposure goes, I'm not really a huge fan of this exact tank, but flavor-wise, they're definitely delivering here. I'm not going to complain for an instant. Like, out of the mesh tanks we've gotten, I've been so stoked that all the mesh tanks we've gotten this year, not all of them, I should say, but the last 3 or 4 of them have been very good, and it's a huge contrast to last year, so we're going to do a whole episode where we just vape new coils and mesh tanks, and that's going to be fun. We'll be able to do that really soon, as soon as I get more replacements for the Aspire Lido Pro mesh coils, which are just, for some reason, I can't get my hands on them. If you have some, send them to me. All right, let's vape this. The triple coil is definitely the big cloud coil. You want to put it on high wattages. Let me see what it says on the wattages on it. It says 80 to 110. And I'm vaping it on... What I should do is stop torturing you guys and put this on a mod that has an actual reading. I've been using the Zenith 3 so much that you just get used to using voltages, but I can't exactly do the math in my head. I usually pop out my calculator to find ranges, and I did that, and I'm in the ranges of my batteries. Okay, boo. But I don't always remember. Okay, 7.17 is where we're at right here, which is a little higher than what it registers at, and I'm going to put it on about 99 big ones. Because I love 99.9. Yum. We're going up to 110. Okay, 110. And I'm going to open the air all the way up. They deliver a lot of good initial nose flavor. Like I said, for me, this is a little bit too much exposure. I've been vaping with the air down and a little bit lower wattages, but the triple coils taste absolutely fantastic. I think a lot of you guys that like to vape like this with the biggest clouds are going to really dig this. It's not quite the Revo, which is insane. And Mark Jones is saying it must be a really hot vape. It is not especially hot, actually, because it didn't have the air down very far. So with the air fully open, it's a pretty cool vape. Huh. Why am I no better at that than I was 3 years ago? A lot of vape there. That one's a little bit warmer because I closed the air down to about halfway. Let me close up on it. Wonka, 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 chonk. And I would probably, since this is a triple, I'm not used to it. I was vaping the double at about 90 watts with the air half open. This one's a little bit different. It's more air. So I'm going to close the air down. Yeah, 90 big ones. And let me see what voltage it thinks it's going. 4.4 volts. That's actually more than I was vaping it at. Well, no, look. I was vaping it at 4.2, 4.3. So that's about the range where I was at the other one. Looks like I like this one about the same way. I vaped the other one for a long time. I went through 2 of them. 3, actually, because I burnt one up. And the other ones, let me show you the info. These are the ones that I vape mostly. The double mesh 0.2, 60 to 90. I vaped them about 90 watts, like I said, with the air kind of half open. And these triples are just a bigger version of those. And it was important to me to note that it was a 6-sided hex inside, because I've determined in my anecdotal evidence, you guys do your own experiments, I've determined that the shape of the hole inside the mesh matters. When I looked at the iJoy coils that had a similar shape on the inside just happened to be the better ones out of the ones we like. And so there is an anecdotal, there's a little hypothesis I've made. And my hypothesis is that the flavor is affected by the shape of the mesh gap. And exactly what that is, I have a further hypothesis that the hex-shaped one is better flavor. It's not confirmed, though. I have some anecdotal evidence. I look forward to you guys telling me what you think. Look at your own atomizers. We'll see what old vape guy Gary thinks. He's an engineer. Maybe he's thought of this too. And I think that's cool. To me, this tank comes across being a little bit cheap, but it looks nice. I like how it looks on here. And the plastic isn't so bad until you touch it. When you touch it, you're like, oh, that really is cheap plastic. But like Mark pointed out, looks great. Looks fantastic. I think it's a little bit large. I personally like, oh, I don't know, the sort of more svelte proportions of the coil art, but that's my personal thing, you know, it's not really much of a deal. And this one is kind of a juice guzzler for me. But those are really my only sort of slight caveats about it. Otherwise, great flavor. It's not expensive. I didn't get a link in the description, but I'll do that as soon as the show's over for you guys. So you have one. I'll paste it in as soon as I go off air. So for the replay, you guys should have one. And so, you know, seems like a pretty good swing, pretty good hit for the Freemax fellas. I've been happy that there have been so many good mesh tanks this year, and this doesn't seem to be an exception to it. So anyway, this is Orbital Vaping Headquarters. I'm Eli Juicy Jones. We're about to go into the hangout portion of this, but if you're watching on the replay, thanks a lot. You pretty much made it through the whole thing. If you want to participate in the chat, feel free. If you guys like these videos, click on like and subscribe. Ding, ding, ding. Click on the bell icon so you get notifications. And I hope all of you have a great one and live a super long life and don't get cancer and have happy families and the whole 9 yards. I know we all had a touching day yesterday, remembering 9/11 and the sacrifices of the people who tried to help all those people who were killed in the terrorist attacks on the Twin Towers of New York. But that was a time when America was more cohesive and we were all together. And I know we can all agree that it's just important to remember that America has virtue and that we can all be together. And I also salute all the families of the people who had people who died. I'm sorry, I'm not very articulate about this, but it's just a depressing thing. And but my feelings are sincere. I hope all of you are having a okay and good life, trying to move on and feel good about yourselves. So thank all of you very much. Thank you for watching my show. I love all you. Thanks. We're going to go to the live hangout now. Thank you. Hello. All right. Sorry about that. I didn't want to get too heavy there, but gosh, I was having some feels yesterday. So I hope all of you are having a great morning. I hope you guys have a cup of tea. I need to rearrange some stuff on my desk down here and get some tea in my life. I really wanted to replace this with the super duper Giganta bubble coil. Aren't you guys disappointed about that? I guess I kind of am a little bit too. Can I just paper towel it at my desk? Do the old put 5 mils of liquid, 4 mils of liquid in your paper towel. Like the messy method. The messy method. First I'll take out the drip tip so it doesn't get any worse than it has to. Clear off a little space on the desktop here. I'll start screwing. This thing goes through so much e-liquid, we may not have too much of a problem, to be honest. Oh, we have to take the glass off, duh. Okay, so just wipe that off a little bit. Get the new glass. Doing this one-handed is a pretty good challenge. Pour some of the e-liquid in there. I'm just rotating my whole body here. Down. On my vape nut stand. That is a good idea. See, a bunch of e-liquid came out the top, so you're going to be screwed no matter what. Take off the glass. Wipe that off just a little bit and set it down. And then we'll just set this glass aside. I've got the top right here. Hey, not bad. Oh! I just undid all of that. All of that work I did to stay tidy, I just undid. I don't care. Let's screw that in. We can also just do it the brute force way. Just screw it in and then wipe it up. Oh, yeah. That was funny. Move the vape nut stand off the desk. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Here we go. That was pretty funny. Ooh, Rob Lee, use a syringe. Boom, smart guy. All right. Pretty good. Here we go. Bloop. We'll take that. Show you guys how awkward this is. It's like, oh, please get in there. Please. See, it came out the top. You're sort of just hoping sometimes. Filling could be better. God, this thing holds 6 mils now. Jesus, that bubble tank holds a lot of jizz. I'm not a big fan of bubble tanks. Are you guys? What do you guys think? A lot of people are. I'm not judging. For me, they're a little bit cartoony. And my problem with it is actually more practical. They just sort of break easier. Look pretty cool. And let me get the lid back on that little guy. And it's saying more wire makes more surface area to heat up the e-liquid and make more saturated vapor. I'm not exactly sure that's true in a direct way. I mean, it might be, but there's actually less wire in this triple Canthal. If you notice, that single one has a lot more actual wire. So they're saying, well, I mean, I guess a better way to think of it might be that the more surface area of wire, because that little one has smaller wire and more of it. And so I think I get your meaning. I think what you mean is just that, is that. But you'll notice that they actually use, they start getting larger and larger holes, and just sort of like putting more wire, like the single one, into these large ones is what they used to do. That's one of the changes they made. They used to just use kind of denser mesh in the big ones and fire it, and it's terrible. It's like those it's like that RDA that I did from Cthulhu, which is linked up here in the thingamajiggies. That Gaudria RDA that had the mesh, use stainless steel mesh and the regular fine kind with a huge surface area in there. It heats up so fast that it's kind of weird. So this is actually a little bit almost somewhere in between that and a regular wound up coil, because they just sort of made they put a little wire in there and they have big gaps in there. It's interesting how it's kind of changed. It's talking about square hole mesh takes less Canthal wire, form different size holes. Interesting. We need to look at some of the. I'm so curious. Thank you, Ed, for chiming in, by the way. I really appreciate that. It's really interesting. Love this discussion. Very interested in this. Amazing flavor. I get the strawberry, I get the meringue. It's creamy. Gosh, that's delicious. I love eating mess. This triple is absolutely tasty as heck, but it is too much volume of vape for me. I mean, it's not unpleasant. It's not a bad vape or anything. It's just a lot of vape. And I usually like to vape sort of like a little bit less volume, just to avoid clouding up the room most of the time. But, I mean, flavor, this is astounding. It's definitely better than like a TFE 8. Or 12. The mesh coils have a much nicer sort of aromatic flavoring. Different kinds of coils give you different kinds of flavoring. And these are less wet, but I feel like they vaporize a lot of e-liquid. They really go through a lot of e-liquid. Ed says he's only 1 cup into his morning, and that's me too. This was actually the first cup of tea that I made today, and I'm embarrassed I've only had half of it. Oh my God. More. We were pretty excited about the vape news this week. What was it? Oh, I tweeted it. My memory is so bad because it's early in the morning. Hello, Tweeatre. Silly internets. If you don't follow me on Twitter, do that. I'm just Juicy Jones on Twitter. Just plain old Juicy Jones. There's my new Note 9. The new Note 9 makes noise, does nothing else. But what was it? The Note 9 lets me do dumb stuff like this. In the UK, Blue Pro did a study, and 72 smokers wanted to try them again. 90 days later, 38% stopped smoking, and all reported non-tobacco flavors were important. And this is fantastic. This is more than double the result that we got from the study that they did at the Mayo Clinic, where 17% of people who were given who were smokers were given vapes while they were in the hospital for that day. And or for the overnight, if they had an overnight stay. And they said, while you're here, vape on this thing, and you can keep it for as long as you want. And in a month or whatever, we're going to give you a call and ask you, but don't worry about it. If you want to toss it, if you want to, it's fine. 17% of them never touched a cigarette again. And that is double the effectiveness of the other ones, of the best one. The best one is like 8% or 9%. And I think that's the gum. If I'm not mistaken, you guys can look that up. But all tobacco cessation methods are not very effective combined. Even combined, they don't come out to 25%. So the new study is 38%. That's double the old one. And it's way more than all the other methods combined. So proven in a study that we need to do more studies of, vaping is double the effectiveness of last time's study and far more effective than all of the other smoking cessation methods combined. And vaping is something that almost 40% of people who smoke can start vaping and not need to smoke again at some point. So, and some of them are probably dual users, I don't know, but a lot of people do this. We also have a new friend on Discord. I want to remind everybody to join us on Discord. Why can't I talk today? I'm like having the worst problem articulating my thoughts. Ashley is our new friend on Instagram, on Discord, and she is from Instagram, and she just quit smoking too, and I'm excited for her. Hey, Ashley, shout out to you. Hey, Josh Weiss. Hey, Mark. Hey, James. Hey, Kyle. Hey, Ed, Rob, and everyone. Love all y'all. So I was pretty excited to hear that smoking is such a terrible scourge, and it is one of those things where it isn't, you know, like I made the decision to start smoking when I did back in the 80s, but had I known what a terrible problem I was going to have with it later, I probably would have chosen differently. It's definitely not good for you. So I'm just so glad that vaping is being proven to be better. And it's important to point out too that it is a straw man to make the argument that vaping is somehow not safe, because that's not what we're doing here. What we're doing here is reducing the harmfulness of cigarettes. That's what we're doing. We're comparing it to cigarettes, not nothing. We're not comparing it to swimming and living a healthy lifestyle and all that. We're comparing it to dying of cancer. So it's always going to win over that. And Mark Jones says, I can't stand the smell of cigarettes. Yeah, me too. One of the best things about quitting is that you end up not stinking. My whole house doesn't stink anymore. It's great. Do you guys have plans today? You guys have stuff coming in vape mail? I'm expecting coils. I've got some nicotine salt stuff to do. I just realized I never showed you guys the back of the box from this thing, but it has quite a few words on it. I think some of the pros in this thing turned into cons for me, like the 510 just completely falling out one day. I mean, this morning, the 510 falling out was just like, what the hell? And then the fact that this just comes out in your pocket. Like this literally just will open in your pocket. And you do not want that. That's typically a thing you do not want, is for your vape lid to just open up. Maybe some of you don't have pockets that will do that. But oh, I did. Huh, that's weird. Oh, there we go. We're back. Now it's back. Sorry about that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off. I'm going to be going on vacation in about 3 weeks to Dallas. And so I'm going to try to do a live show from actual Dallas. And that should be on a Saturday, pretty sure. And otherwise, I hope all of you just have a great day. Have a great life. We're going to see you. I have to go do my thing. I hope you have to go do your thing. Let's vape out. Grab a cup of tea. Brush your teeth, do your thing. Have a great day. Hope all of you have a nice one. Thank you for watching Orbital Vaping Headquarters. And thanks for watching Juicy Jones HQ VapeAM. Yum. Thank you.